Hi, everybody. We have officially reached episode 3 of the Lone Rowsdower. Now, we're basically on our way to Mike Pepper's cabin out in the swamp. And between episodes, I've been thinking about why. What does he have to offer? Now, Mike Pepper, like from the actual movie, The Final Sacrifice, I don't recall if he was actually a former member of the cult. But what I'm going to do in this, well, telling is that Mike Pepper is a former member of the cult. I think I did mention that before, but anyways, he is a member of the cult, or was a former member, not anymore. And he was basically a member during Rousdower generation, Rousdower's generation of attendance. So, again, Mike Pepper thought Rousdower died or disappeared. Mike Pepper eventually broke off and escaped the cult. Now he is a hermit, essentially, and he's basically pulling a Yoda in this swamp, which is very fitting for Star Wars fans out there. And we need to know what he has to offer, Rousdower. I was thinking, like, well, maybe he has some inside information, or he made a huge discovery. The cult of Ziox has been looking for the kingdom of Ziox, or the city of Ziox, to find and release it and take over the world. And that's my cat's tail in the background here. Again, every episode we're going to have an artifact or some special guest star. It's like a talk show, then, cut to the band. Anywho, that's hilarious. So, uh, this basically puts Mike Pepper in a very important spot. He's not just some old loony that's, there's gold up in them heels kind of character, but he actually is relevant, and I think he has some great insider information about the cult. So let's go to the table, and for this episode, I will be using traditional fate dice. Remember, I mentioned that every so often I'm going to change up the dice mechanic a bit because the game is so easily hackable, fate in general. We're going to go back. We'll be going back to the core game rules and just using fate dice and using the ladder system to for difficulty. So we have the trusty card here for the rules for fate. We got our dice here. Red dice will be our character rolls, and the purple dice will be our opposing rolls. So Pepper's cabin, and today is March 2nd, FYI, just real time, not game, not world setting, world time. So let's draw a card to see what Mike Pepper has to offer. So I'm assuming that will be, he lets us inside, we sit down, maybe gives us a drink, a coffee, something, and he catches up with old, talks about, starts going on storytelling mode. But again, we have to remember that Rouser is kind of there's urgency here. He doesn't want to just sit back and talk about old times, like shoot the shit, but doesn't want to disrespect Pepper, because maybe deep down he's thinking that Mike Pepper might have something for him that will help him find and just get rid of the cult once and for all. Because it seems in Ryo's eyes, the cult keeps just popping up every so often and ruining his life, or getting in the way, or, Rousdower's trying to play hero and avenge the deaths of those villages. Maybe he hasn't seen the cult for a long time. But as a drifter, he's kind of forgot about them, but this, reignites his hatred for them. So, Mike Pepper is just going on about the past, and it sounds like his story starts to become relevant. That's where we draw a card to see what he talks about. So I have a card drawn here. Pack of the Serpent. So this one here. Oh, right. I almost forgot. In my last episode, I left off allowing you guys to describe the last card. I believe I drew this one. I'm going to take a quick watch of the episode and I'll be right back. Okay, so I found it. It was just one comment, which is perfectly acceptable. So I scrapped the old card. That's back in actually the draw. And I forgot to have our hero's mugshot right here in the last episode. So Rousdower is back. This is the card I wanted you guys to give me some a read on. This is the card here. And here's the comment that was posted by Smitty Gonbass? Gonbase? A comment about the visual effect, Earl's Psychic, and then the card, the militia is on the hunt for whoever sacked the village and accidentally tracked to them. So, the militia, sorry, is on the hunt. Okay, so there is a separate entity that is tracking, trying to figure out who destroyed the village which Rowsdower passed through. I think that the lady that we scared off went to get help, and there was a passing militia sorts or group of warriors that were maybe on the hunt for the cult. This coincidentally, they coincidentally went into the lady, and she says, "I just saw one of them back at the village. They killed everybody. My family's dead, etc., etc." The militia on their horseback, they ride into town. They probably track Rowsdower's horse tracks, and they are in the swamp, most likely on the way. So that makes a lot of sense connecting to our failed roll from from our prior episodes. So, does I don't think Rowsdower knows at all. That's not in his scope. Mike Pepper, I mean, he knew that Rowsdower was present or that there was someone trespassing on his land. He didn't know it was Rowsdower at first, but he knew someone was trespassing. So let's hide the comment here, and we'll write that down in the notes. Okay, so star militia tracking the bad guys who torched the village. Now, the lady ran for help. Saw that. Mentions Rowsdower. Okay, so here is a potential conflict. By the way, the comment, Smitty, love it. It is perfect. It's foundational for what basically has just developed. So now, this militia, we need to ask the Oracle if the militia is nearby or distant. No doubt they are going through the swamp, but we need to figure out how close they are. Because we're not really tracking narrative time here. I'm really free-forming this. So what I'll do is just roll a D100, and 100, close to 100 is mean these guys are close. They're right outside the front door. 1 or, lower down to 1 is that they're pretty far out. They're not really a threat just yet, but they might be a problem later down the road. I don't want to dismiss this idea. That's the thing. Want to keep these guys still in play. So let's roll the D100 and see just how much of a threat they are. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so 16... Okay, yeah, 69. Giggity. So, okay, these guys are pretty close. They're not outside the front door, but they are at least maybe a quarter mile away. They are getting close. Now, are they within Mike Pepper's, like, omniscient magic capabilities of... Again, he's a hermit, so maybe he does have some magic abilities to have that feeling that there's probably someone trespassing. Possibly. So here's what I will do. I think 69 is being over 50% is a signal that will trigger Mike Pepper's defenses, his little internal sonar that goes off in his mind that there's someone nearby or a threat nearby. Okay, so this is getting very, very interesting. I did not expect this to happen so soon. So let's say that the militia is, again, 1/2 mile away. I apologize for people who use meters. 1/2 mile away from the cabin, and we're going to roll to see if Mike Pepper's, again, his magic awareness gets triggered. So let's roll the dice. I think it's a, well, actually, you know what? 69 or less. That's the percentage. What we rolled will be the percentage of what needs to trigger his awareness. I think at or below makes the most sense. This, again, this is not really a mechanic. It's just a house rule, the spur of the moment. So yeah, 69 or less, it will trigger his internal sensors. All right, so here we go. Oh, it does not. Okay, so 83 means it does not. I'm trying to think if that roll does make sense. Because, again, if we're thinking about it, the closer they are, the higher the number is, which widens the window for his magic to sense them. I think that makes sense. It wouldn't be above, where if they're like 90%, they're outside the front door, why would I roll 91 or higher to detect them? So yeah, it does make sense to roll at or below, which is my usual D100 Oracle. It's like asking the question, does he sense them? Yes, he does. Oh, no, he does not at the moment, but if he rolled under, he would have. So he does not. Maybe there's a disturbance in the Force. A lot of these, again, there's really not lining up with Star Wars. So it's not on his mind. He is narratively, like, why he doesn't, he's distracted with Rouse. You know, this is probably the first person he's been speaking to since he left the cult at all, besides killing intruders or creatures from the swamp. So again, he's very happy to be speaking to an old friend. Rowsdower and was probably one of the only few he can trust in this world. And so Rowsdower Mike Pepper is speaking to him. And so that is where the militia currently stands. They are just not so far off, but not close enough to trigger Mike Pepper's sensors. So let's draw a card to see what Mike Pepper is talking about topic-wise. Okay, so basically Mike Pepper is explaining that during his time here in the swamp, he has encountered ghoulish creatures from the underworld, soul-sucking creatures, dangerous, threatening creatures from all angles of this swamp. And it's been life or death here. But he explains that, with that card there, that it's been not just a curse, but also a gift. So he's found something, this little growth spiral, as I'm interpreting this card, he has found something that can be of help for Rowsdower. And he's going to give this item, to Rowsdower. Now, what he explains is that the next card I draw is the item he found during his time here. It's probably one of his most treasured items. So let's say Mike Pepper has a magical artifact to give. Okay, so let's trash these two cards here. And the magical artifact is going to be, I'm trying to hope to draw a card. Okay, this is a token creature called the Illusion. Whenever this creature blocks a creature, that creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step. Okay, not a physical item, but perhaps this is workable. So earlier in the last episode, I briefly mentioned how Rowsdower spotted a bird up in the sky, or some flying creature of sorts. Mike Pepper did not acknowledge this creature. think about the first episode, the actual first episode of the anime Pokemon. Ash saw that magical, rare Pokemon flying. I forgot the name of it, but flying in the sky, and it's super rare. I think he mentions it briefly later on, and they're like, "That's impossible." Blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, he saw this rare creature. So this is almost that significant. Mike Pepper says that there is this creature that has been following Mike Pepper for some time. It's been like circling above for the past maybe several weeks, not like for years or anything, but like just recently. I think Mike Pepper explains that he found something, like found a cave or some, what, let's draw a location card. He stumbled onto let's write down the flying creature. So star, flying creature. This might become a companion for our Lonely Rowsdower. And the location he found this creature was from that's a mountainous pass. Maybe it's on the edge of the swamp near the mountains. So perhaps it was a cave, maybe it was a nest, but essentially he found this creature at the edge of the swamp when he was looking for food or excavating or exploring a bit. Maybe Mike Pepper was getting house sick. And so he found this creature. Now, this creature, as this card says, illusion, maybe it looks like it is a flying creature. I think that this illusion, it actually is an illusion, but maybe it is sentient. It's a shape-shifting, flying the organism. It's some kind of creature that can shapeshift. And I think Mike Pepper talks about how in his childhood he had his family had a bird before he was kidnapped at the cult, etc. His family had a bird that was his father's companion, and his father passed away or was killed, and the bird eventually became like Pepper's. It was a family bird, and it was maybe it was a phoenix or something. And maybe it got lost, or he lost it himself. Whatever happened to it. So now this illusion, this magical artifact that he found out in this area, has the ability to conjure a sentient, something of sentience that is a significance to the owner of this item. So it could be a magical sword, it can be a creature, it can be a chariot, it can be anything sentient. It's on its own. Items, maybe, but I think what we're talking about, judging by this picture, because I'm sorry, it's not a bird, it's an octopus. So let me show you guys. I probably went a little too far, but it is an octopus. I missed that detail just a bit. I thought it was a bird. So that's okay. The bird kind of ties into the last episode. I want to keep that relevant. So he gets up from his chair, goes near the fire, and on the top of the fireplace, there's a ledge. There's a little platform, and he has some artifact. He has some pictures and some things, knickknacks. There is a little case. He takes the case off the ledge, gives it to Rowsdower. Rowsdower opens it up, and it's a blue pearl, kind of like from this picture here. And the blue pearl has some moving ghostly entity inside. And he says, "This is the heart of what you saw up in the sky earlier. This lets you create an illusion that becomes your companion." Sorry, I gotta say that in Mike Pepper's voice. It says, "This is the blue pearl. If you think really hard, it creates whatever you want." So I can't really do Mike Pepper's voice right now. I was kind of feeling like crap a few days ago, but I was able to last episode. But basically, Mike Pepper saying, "You hold this pearl. If you think really hard, it creates whatever you imagine. It becomes sentient, becomes your companion, etc., etc., etc." So this blue pearl, he explains that this might be a good use to Rowsdower and used against the cult. And so Rowsdower thanks Mike for the help. He says he will keep this. Well, I should say, maybe Rowsdower says, "Are you sure you want to give this to me?" And Mike Pepper doesn't hesitate. He says, maybe there was a moment when Rowsdower saved Mike Pepper's life many years ago when they were in the cult. Maybe that's why he's giving this to him as a gift. And so Rowsdower says, "Is this what was flying over earlier?" And I think Mike Pepper says, "Yeah, that bird. It's now yours." Or whatever you think it is now yours. So what we'll do is add this to the stunts, because it is kind of an item. And we'll write it in here. Let's see. Blue pearl +2 when summoning illusion. And I'll just kind of leave it broad on purpose like that. So you get a +2 for summoning this illusion. It can be summoned for whatever reason. Yeah, that's really it. When this will come in handy, I don't really know, but I think I was hoping more for information. Maybe that's what Mike Pepper, what Rowsdower asked before he leaves. So let's say Rowsdower stands up. He's holding the chest, the little chest, and he thanks Mike Pepper for the hospitality. He says, but he has to go. You know, he has to continue on. And Mike Pepper, let's see what he says. I'm tempted to think that he does not. He provides information. So let's drop the card here, and he provides the following. Look at that. There is the pearl that we could have used, but I think this one, it's literally an artifact. So maybe this artifact is what it looks like. It's just picturing it blue, though. But that's kind of what I had in mind. It looks like in this picture here, there is something inside that's moving around. But it's the size of a maybe the size of a tennis ball. Or a baseball at best. So let's draw another card, because I want to think it's more so informational. We'll put this illusion thing away. That's what this does. Okay, so let's do this. Let's connect these two together. This is what it looks like. This is what it does. These two cards become relevant. The sphere, this magical artifact, the blue pearl, conjures, can summon this illusion magic. There. End of that. Now, we're going to draw a card to see what Mike Pepper is going to say before Rowsdower leaves. Again, Rowsdower is explaining that he has to go catch up with the cult before they get too far. And this card here, oh, this works perfectly because it has the word witness. So this is something I was hoping we would draw. So cruel witness. I escaped, so why do I feel like I'm being watched? Militia, look at that. Oh, there you go. This is it. So this ties into the militia card recommendation from the interpretation from our commenter. And essentially, they are being watched. So when Rouser is about to leave, he opens the door and he can see torches and horseback in the distance. And that's where Mike Pepper's internal alarms go off. He's like, wait. So, So, I think we need to roll against the environment here. This could be a significant movement. So here's what I'll do. We're going to roll some fake dice, and it'll be an imposing roll. This purple is going to represent... Let's note down what just happens, okay? So check, we got that. And Rowsdower is about to leave then he sees the militia. Okay? Outside in the distance. The militia will be the purple dice. The red dice will be our Rowsdower and possibly Mike Pepper. Now, I don't know what this roll is going to be based on, or at least mechanically. Like, what's it from? Let's say it's for perception, survival, wisdom. Okay, so we have a +1 here. Now, do any of our aspects come in handy? Well, knows the wild, worst places, growth protector of the innocent, harden. It's not a cult, so it's gonna be a flat roll. Well, it's gonna be a +1 just based off the attribute. Here we go. Okay, so that's a 1, and let's see what the cult. But that's a -2. So he is able to spot the cult just in time. He turns quickly back to Mike Pepper and says, "There's someone outside. I think we're being followed. I think I was followed, etc." And Mike Pepper says, "Go back, go through the back door." And so he shows him the back door. Rowsdower leaves, and you can kind of hear horseback getting closer. And so I think maybe at first Rowsdower thinks it's the cult. He didn't get a good look at them. He just saw torches through the tree line and a handful of individuals on horseback. Maybe he thinks it's a cult, but it's not. We know that. So Mike Pepper, all he knows is that these guys are intruders, and they could be a threat. They could be. Not often that Mike Pepper runs into an old friend, an old ally. So most 99.999% of the time, it is indeed intruders that he needs to deal with. So Mike Pepper, there's no shotgun in this world in this time, so he grabs a bow and arrow or something. It's like, "You get on going, go into the bushes, go back there and hide. I'm going to take care of these guys." And Rowsdower says, "I can help." Or he's like, "Let me help you." And I'm trying to think if Mike Pepper would let him help here. I don't see why he wouldn't. Rowsdower's not a child. He's perfectly able to fend off and fend for himself. So let's take a step back here. I think that's pretty silly. Like, he doesn't just let Rowsdower run off. I think he. Okay, so maybe he does let him to the door. The Rowsdower says, "No, I'm going to help you." Mike Pepper is reluctant, but again. Okay, so let's roll to try to convince Mike Pepper that we will help him. So he gave him the pearl, so he feels obligated to help him. This will be a reluctant, hero dark pass. So that's a high concept. We're spending a fate point for that. So it's a +2 for the roll, and this is charisma, which is not our strong suit. But maybe Rowsdower thinks it's the cult, so I'll give him a stun for +2 here. It's not the cult, but it's attitude. He shows passion, that he shows urgency that this is the cult, maybe these are the guys. So that's +4 total. We're rolling against, but Mike Pepper doesn't want to see his friend get hurt. So let's just say it's a flat +4. So we need to be a +4 with our +4. So here we go. That is going to be a tie, 4-4 tie. Okay, so how to treat a tie here? It could have been an opposing roll, but I believe that using the latter was better for the situation. Probably could have been an opposing roll. Because I'm really rolling. We're not fighting him. It's more like a. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyways, keep it as it is. So he convinced a tie. It's a succeed at minor cost. Let's see what the minor cost is. So what is the minor cost? Remember, this is the militia right here. The minor cost is. Oh, yeah, that's not reassuring at all. It looks like it's a battle-worn knight, the Ballista Watcher. Careful, this thing's dangerous. Wouldn't want anyone getting hurt. So, okay, well, here is the minor cost. Okay, so I think Mike Pepper lets him stay and help fend off these intruders. It's the least he can do, he says. But they're already at the door. There's a knock on the door. They're polite. They don't want to be mistaken. They don't want to just randomly kill some cabin owner. Maybe they're looking for the intruder. They're looking for, again, the people responsible. So they're asking the only real cabin in the swamp. Hey, have you seen these guys? Specifically, this one, Rowsdower. And so it's knocking on the door. Mike Pepper's surprised, and so is Rowsdower. Mike Pepper does this. Just do not say a word. I'll handle this. Because they're not attacking. Mike Pepper puts the bow down on his table. He walks up to the door. Rowsdower kind of gets behind a wall, and maybe there's just a step in on the wall that he's looking behind a dead plant or something, and he has his sword ready. And so Mike Pepper opens the door, and the following happens. And so that card is done. I believe that card is done. I don't feel like I really read off of that, but anyways. Swift's okay. Well. This bird here. So it's a legendary creature, bird soldier. Maybe. This is a tough one. So. Mental door. Swift Savior. Sweet Savior. This is a good card. Okay, so these guys they are, again, militia, but they are good guys. These are not bad guys. Well, good guys is the standard of dark fantasy, but these are not born killers. These are generally good people. And maybe they are from an earlier settlement that was destroyed by the cult of Ziox. They ask Mike Pepper, maybe it's the leader. He's off his horse, and he asks that we're looking for a man, based on the description the lady gave, and a group of cultists. And Mike Pepper, he says, well, let's see what he says. Let's see if he lies or he tells the truth. Okay, so this bird is just more so the start of the conversation, the tone of the conversation. He says, okay, this looks to be magic. So maybe Mike Pepper, again, he's a hermit. I've been kind of insisting that he has some kind of magical abilities. So maybe he uses some kind of mind magic, mind powers, very secretly, to influence these stormtroopers, sand troopers. These aren't the droids you're looking for, basically, moment. So he says that he, maybe earlier today, he saw or he heard horseback going by east from here. So what he's trying to do is redirect this militia to the cult, which is very smart. And so Rowsdower smirks a bit, and the leader turns back to the other members of the militia, and they kind of murmur amongst themselves. And let's see if this works. So this should just be a general D100 roll. 75% chance. I don't think they expect this old guy to lie. So let's bump that up to 80. Oh my gosh, 86. For some reason, they down him. And maybe because it's the matchup. No, this should be an opposing roll, actually. Yes, this should be an opposing roll. I'm gonna make Mike Pepper, I'm gonna scratch that roll. Forgive me. I'm gonna make Mike Pepper a temporary player character and roll an opposing roll against a purple. So red die with Mike Pepper, purple die will be the militia. I'll give a +2 for his magic and the idea that he is just a local and he is innocent. So let's say it's a +3 with that +1, or +4, sorry. So those 2 +2s against the purple. Okay, so let's roll all of these at once. All right, the purple is the enemy. Well, they're not really enemies per se, but it's a flat 0. They equaled out. We got a -1. So that means, well, we did beat them actually. Yeah, that's 3 total. Okay, so there you go. Mike Pepper is able to convince them that he heard a group of horseback earlier today, which is not common in this area, go east from here, towards the mountains or etc., towards a clearing, the end of the swamp. And they believe him. They murmur amongst themselves, and they thank him. They tip their hat, and they leave. So, I think that worked out just fine. I think the opposing role here made more sense than earlier when Rowsdower was opposing role with his friend. So him being his friend, we gave a set difficulty, rolled it, thumbs up. This one, it's actual opposing force. We took Mike Pepper into our hands as a temporary player character, and we opposed roll and we succeeded. The gang is out of here. So let's note down what happened. So Pepper convinces the militia that the cult, this is a star moment, the cult went east to the, we'll get a location later, So, and they believe him. So they leave. They believe him and leave. Again, it doesn't make sense for them to be violent here. They are just searching for and they saw this cabin, and they're like, hey, maybe this local can give us directions. Okay, it worked out. So they leave, closes the door. Mike Pepper turns around. Rowsdower steps out from the shadows, and he says, well played. And he says, not only did you send them out in the right direction, but this might be able to help us thin the numbers a bit. I don't think Rowsdower really cares about the militia safety. I think if, again, it's kind of out of character at this moment, but I believe he's more focused on this might be an advantage for him. So this could be a scene boost. So here's what I'll do. I'm going to put a +2 scene boost, which is the militia tracking the cult. So that could basically thin the numbers for if and when Rowsdower ever runs into the cult in a future episode. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's a good spot to end. We're about almost 40 minutes, which is, again, so I believe my episodes will be within 30 to 40 minutes on average. But yeah, this one was good. This was a good some good context building. We ran into the militia, which again a suggestion from Smitty. So thank you, Smitty, for the suggestion. And I'll leave it at that. So as far as our card goes, we have the Blue Pearl. I really don't know when they'll come in handy. I'm kind of regretting it. Or I'm not regretting it, I shouldn't say that. I'm kind of hesitant on the Blue Pearl. Let me know what you guys think about it. It could be, I don't want it to be like a MacGuffin or whatever you call it, a plot device. But it was a gift from Mike Pepper, so he has to keep it. And it could be useful. I mean, it literally could be very useful in a moment of searching or spying. So yeah, we'll definitely keep it. I'm not going to disregard or anything. But in any event, as always, we'll leave right here. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And as always, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.